Thank you for joining today's Tableau Server user group meetup. My name is Mark Wu. I'm a Tableau's customer. I'm also Tableau Server admin. I manage a very large server with a few hundred cores. Today's topic is for backgrounders. That is one of our most common top challenges, how to improve your server background efficiencies. I'm trying to put together a few things as server admin success factors or roadmaps. What are a few things that are most important for us as server admins? Some of you may not agree. This is how I look at it. Number one is focus on the fundamental thing. Tableau Server Admin one-on-one stuff, which I had a presentation a few months back. I'll go through very quick the key points. Number two, I call Tableau Server Admin 201. That is where today's focus, backgrounders. Number three, that is focusing on the workbooks, render time. I will try to put together a presentation in early November timeframe for that. Let's review very quickly for the server admin one-on-one that I had a presentation in May that is available. All my slides, recordings, even sample workbooks are available in the community. I have a link over there on the top. Also, I posted the link in the chat a few minutes ago. Only thing is the link is so long, it's very hard to find it. So over the weekend, I created my own short link. If you go to enterprisetableau.com, that's my blog site, enterprisetableau.com. I have a permanent redirect over there. Okay. If I want to show you, that's easier for me to remember. If I go to enterprisetableau.com, I have a permanent server admin tag link that has all the previous recordings, slides, everything for the last couple of years. Very useful link. It takes time to redirect, looks like. It'll get there, okay? There are a lot of very useful information here. The May talk about server admin one-on-one, and also last month I talked about Tableau server permission deep dive. There are many other very useful links. Jump back to the slide deck. Let's review quickly for the 101. For those who either missed my previous presentation or just want to have a quick review. Number one, doing the regular maintenance. At least daily cleanups. Hopefully you do a daily backup and restores. You do a weekly TSM stop or doing a full cleanup. That will delay additional temp files in both logs and Postgres database. Second, monitoring. What things to monitor? I ask many other server admins, what things to monitor? Each different person may have a slightly different list, but looks like those four things are mostly common things for server admins. Those are four things for me, I monitor. View render time, extracts delays, CPU memory of the server, and of course, Tableau service event. I'll just do a quick double click on each of those. View render time. This is the number one thing I look at every single day on my server. It's nothing but from HTTP_request table. Second, extracts delays. There are multiple custom views you can build. And also what's better is 2020.2 has a new admin view that has similar backgrounder dashboards. You can see the backgrounder delays. CPU memory, of course, depends on the systems. Unix, Linux, Linux and or Windows, there are different ways to monitor your CPU memories. And Tableau's own TSM events, you got to subscribe as an admin. So that's monitoring. Number 3 is understanding of the permissions. Okay, this is very fundamental. And I got so many people asking me for different things about the permissions. As a server admin, I feel that it's an important skill for us to have, help others as well, help all your publishers, which is why I repeated multiple times on the server admin permission presentations. Most recent one is last month. Now, number 4 is upgrade our servers. Upgrade as often as you can. I recommend 2 to 4 times a year. I have 2 servers, one 4 times a year, another 2 times a year. During the upgrade, before upgrade, making sure the publishers are doing their testing for their own workbooks. And try to choose the latest version if you can. All right, those are Server Admin 101 quick overview. Let's dive into the background efficiencies. The challenge we are facing together, very common, is the background delays. No matter it's subscription or your extracts or flow delays, very common. Just like the rush hour, people wanted to submit their schedule right after ETL completion. Got a lot of delays in the early morning, very common. What are the solutions? Today, I'm gonna show you 6 or 7 solutions. I go by the top, for me is the easiest, most efficient, and also most efficient way to deal with. As you can see, both 2 new features out of 2020.3 came top to my list. I used to spend a lot of extra effort using Python to deal with those things. Now, Tableau built out those features based on user customer feedback. That's great. I will dive those 2 features. I'll spend half of the time diving into the feature number 1, number 2. The rest are pretty straightforward to understand. Let's click number 1, double click. Automatically suspend extracts refresh schedule. Think about, very common that the publishers, self-service publishers, they have a lot of workbooks, they schedule a lot of things. Then the users don't use their workbook anymore. They're even not aware of. So the workbook not being used, but the extracts still going on. How to identify those and how to stop the refresh, that's the key challenge. Now Tableau made it easy as part of 2020.3. Out of box, go to each site. The settings, there is default is on. Automatically suspend extract refresh for inactive workbooks. Default 30 days. Means if the workbook not being used 30 days, the extracts associated with that workbook will be suspended automatically. Easy, bingo, lovely. I really love this feature. I'm gonna dive into multiple areas for us to understand how this feature works. One of those is, how do I know the task is suspended? Well, if the task is suspended for project leaders or workbook owners or admins, if you click on that extract refresh task, you will see a new indicator, suspended 1. Now, next question you should ask is, which kind of things, activities are considered as active usage? Which activity considers active usage? It's very hard to read from documentation, but I read it also, I confirmed with the PM. Any active subscriptions or data-driven alerts, or of course the clicks or views, any downloads, any owner change of the workbook, or any move to different location, different projects. All those activities are considered as active usage. Now, top one, subscriptions. Subscriptions are considered as active usage. I don't know if I agree, but that's the way it is right now. So it means if there is a workbook nobody used for last 35 days, but there is a daily subscription, that workbook schedule will not be suspended. Just be aware. Again, I don't know if I agree, but that's the way it is. Now, next one. Which kind of schedules are suspended? Which kind of schedules are not? So far, 2020.3, the scope is only hourly or daily full extracts. And for the workbooks only, at least the longer list of what's out of scope. Just be aware, weekly, monthly is out of scope, incremental out of scope, data source extracts out of scope, and the flow out of scope. I guess it makes sense for the weekly because it really doesn't matter. Weekly refresh, weekly, monthly really doesn't matter too much. Incremental, that's fair. Data source extracts, I think we should have, should be in the scope in the next releases. Flows should be as well. Now, next question you should be asking is, which kind of notifications to be sent out? Well, that's good. That's very well designed so far. Tableau server sends out 2 notifications automatically. One is that 3 days before refresh is suspended. The second one is after refresh is suspended. I think that's very good. Next is what happens after suspended. If someone clicks a view again, will it be resumed automatically? Think about that. After the extracts is suspended, what if you or anyone else click the view? Will the refresh resumed automatically? Nope. Active use after suspended will not trigger auto refresh again. But as owner of the workbook or as a project leader, of course, as admin, you can always resume it, no matter use or not. You have a privilege to resume the extracts. You can also add in new ones anytime. That's a given feature since beginning. Okay. But the key point here is there's no auto resume. I think this is good. All right, next. So this is the new feature number 1, talk about auto resume. Next feature is tag still content. There is a new admin view that you can access from site status. It's called still content. You may be confused. What is a still content versus suspended refresh? What is the difference? Why there are 2 different things here? Are they similar? Kind of similar. The first one we talk about is suspend extracts. It's mainly it's only for inactive workbooks. Now, this one, still content, is not only for workbooks, but also for data sources. Okay, that's one. But also, the still content admin view is mainly focused on archiving the content, versus the suspend is focusing on the extracts stopping. I'll talk more the difference later on, but let me dive into still content feature. Since 2020.2, the admin view of still content is there already. When I say admin view, means this view. Okay, still content admin view has been there since 2020.2. But what difference is 2020.2, you can select the still content. It shows you how much disk use and so on. Only from 2020.3, this small tag feature shows up after you select the still content. So this, the little window, the window on the right lower corner, tag object feature, tag objects feature. This is new on 2020.3, but this actually is a pretty big feature I want to show you. Okay. You select the whatever days you define as still content, and then it will show you how many workbooks, how many data sources you selected. Do you want to tag them as still content? You can say, yes, of course I tag them. And then you can give a specific tag. By default, it's called still content tag. Now, the thing is that the server does not do anything for those tagged content. Just tag them, that's all. That's all the feature it has. Just tag them, but server does not do anything of them. Now, here's my tip, how you can archive or delete the tagged content. I gave you 6 steps you can do after the tag, okay? Go to the site, again, each site. Select all the workbooks, for example, data sources, okay? And then it goes one by one. Let's say select all the workbooks. Step 3, look for a specific tag. You know you can search specific tag. Once you search all of those, step number 4, select all of them. Step number 5, you can do click the action. What's the action? You can either move them or delete them. So the tag feature actually, although that's the only feature available 2020.3, although server does not do anything else other than tag, but you can do something else. Follow those steps. So what I'm recommending that you select workbooks for all the still content with the tag still content, move them to archive project. Then do the same thing, select all the data sources with the still content tag, move them to either same archiving project or to a different archiving project. That is my recommendation. Here's a recap for you. Number 1, of course, step number 1 is tag still content. Okay, based on how many days you think the still should be defined in your organization. And step number 2, select all the stack still content and move it to a specific project. Now, the tip here is that for the archiving project that you have, I recommend that you lock the permission. What it means? When you lock the permission, means that all the other users, likely they will not, you will not give them permission anymore. Anyway, there's a still content that nobody been using for the last whatever days, 2 months, whatever, right? If those contents are not removed from their permission, it's not a problem. But as owner of the workbook, they can still access. Why? Because after the content is moved, the owner remains the same. Even with a lock permission project, owner remains the same. So the owner means the workbook owner, means the author. The author can still access the moved content to the archiving project. They can, since they have access, they are still the owner, they can download it, they can even move it back, they can publish again somewhere else. So this way you provide archiving, and also you provide more like self-service republishing. Okay. Now, what's next? After the workbooks, data sources, being in our guiding project for a long time, what's next? Well, depends. If you have a disk challenge, you should delete them. I recommend delete them after a period of time, being sitting over there. Just be aware that when you delete those things, not only is a manual process, but there's no notification to be sent out. Even with moving, there's no notification. If you want to automate a process, you want to send notifications, you can, using, for example, webhooks to send the notifications automatically if you want. All right, but still, this is a great feature for really, for a smaller effort, you can archiving the still content. Pretty useful. So you don't have to go through your own selection criteria, which is painful. All right, let me recap those two things. I want to compare what is the difference again between auto suspended refresh versus tag still content. Although both are 2020.3 new feature, auto suspend is only for workbooks, but tag still content is for both workbooks and data sources. I don't know for sure it works for Flow at all. Auto suspend feature is to stop the extract refresh task, save you backgrounders. But tag still content, it move to a different, you can move to different folder. When it's moved, the schedule may not be stopped. So you still need to do next step, which is really to delete or unschedule them. It's mainly focusing on archiving. The auto suspend by default is 30 days for workbooks. The beauty of that is it is set as a 30 days, and it automatically stop any refresh tasks with the workbook if the workbook is not used for 30 days automatically, and notifications being sent out. So that's like setup once, you're all done. However, tag still content is something that you as admin have to do it manually every single time, periodically, every single time. Mentioned before, notifications send out automatically for auto suspended, but there's no notification for still content. Although you can build notifications, for example, using webhooks if you want. That is recap, high level recap. If you just don't remember anything else I mentioned, auto suspend refresh is mainly for workbook extracts efficiency, where tag still content is for archiving, but also dealing with data source extract efficiency. So far, I spent 20 plus minutes talking about those two new features out of 2020.3 that will help regular server admins a lot. That's why it's on my top list for improving efficiency. Let me take a few quick questions before I jump down to other features. Look at the QA. This question, I take it there's no automatic remove of still content similar to suspend extracts. You're right, there's no automatically delete. Yes, you will have to do it manually. As I mentioned earlier, yes, you're right. Robert, if you log permission on the archiving project, will the moved workbook data source still be available to the owners? Yes, I mentioned. After you remove the tag, after you move the still content to the locked permission project, the owner remains same. Because the owner remains the same, the owner still has a full privilege for their own workbooks. That includes download, everything, access, although the end users will not have access because it depends on your login permission setting. Likely end users will not, but owners will continue to have that. So owners can download them. Since they can download, they can always republish to other projects if they want. Good question, Robert. Tammy, once the workbook is tagged as a still content, can you remove those still content tag from the workbook later on? Can you change the tag later on? Can you change the tag later on? I think so. You can tag them. You can change the tag later on. Yes, you can remove the tag if you want later on. Correct. Yes, you can. Tammy, good question. Victor Lee, can we query the Tableau metadata for tag still content so we can automate the cleanup? I think so. The tag you can do, you can query the tag. Yes. Yeah, Victor figure out how to do that. I have not done that before, but I'm pretty sure you can. Figure out and share the workbook to everyone else if you can. Thank you. Chris, if auto suspended is for workbooks only, does that mean that it will only stop refresh task for embedded extracts only? Chris, the auto suspended is for workbooks only. However, it will take care of both, no matter what book is embedded extracts or not. Actually, of course, it's only for embedded. It's only for the embedded extracts. You're right. You're right. For live connection, it really doesn't matter because that's on data source. You're right. You are right. Yeah, that's only for embedded extracts in a workbook. That makes sense. Thank you. Mohammed, having the owner access the dashboard in the archiving project will improve the still status. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, owners will automatically being able to access their contents in the archiving project. How does NTAG after archive? I have not tried, but I'm pretty sure you can NTAG it. Not NTAG, you can delete tag if you want. You can delete tag. Maybe you should be able to change the tag. I don't know for sure change. You can delete tag. I know that for sure. Just answer 2 more questions before I continue. Thumb, I have large data source extracts daily with multiple workbooks access them. If one workbook is not used for 30 days, but others using the same data source or the data source refresh being suspended. No, okay. Today, the 2020.3, the auto suspended is again, is for only for embedding, is for the workbook with embedded extract schedule. It does not deal with data source extract schedule. If you care for data source extract schedule, that's my number 7, reduce extract frequency per usage. That's more advanced, but I do have a presentation. You can go back, review. I'll show you a little bit. December 20th last year, I do have a presentation for that. Dive into more. I do also have a workbook. You can check out data source extracts frequency, and so on. I'll show you later on. Okay. Winnie, there is no alert mechanism on the still alert. That's no alert. That's no alert. You are right, Winnie. That's no alert. That's what it is. Granda, we have monthly basis dashboard. Well, it goes to auto suspend the criteria. If you know that some dashboards will only be used monthly, 30 days, you can set the auto suspend, for example, 35 days. That should do. That's very simple. And again, that's how many days, that's a site specific. Victor, okay. Yeah, thank you, Victor. If you develop a workbook, show the community, that'd be awesome. All right, let me jump on, continue my presentation. Thank you for your questions. You guys are good. You guys are following me on this. All right, the rest is more straightforward. Okay, reduce timeout. Again, our main objective here is handle the extracts subscription delays. Okay, another way to do that is that's what I have on my server. Again, I have a very large server. I have more than 20,000 extracts a day on the server. Reduce timeout default. Okay, never go beyond the 2 hours. That's number one. Okay, although your business users may ask you for this, for exceptions, whatever, you don't care. You stick with 2 hours. That's the maximum. Don't go to the slip slope. Second thing is the subscription timeout. By default, it's 30 minutes. That's way too long. I have the 5 minutes. I think I can reduce for the 3 minutes, but right now 5 minutes. I'll recommend 5 minutes, not 30 minutes. 30 minutes is way too long. And also the way the works subscription timeout works is that if the workbook has 3 views, if someone subscribes to the workbook, actually the way the timeout works is each view is 5 minutes. So together the whole workbook becomes 15 minutes subscription timeout, which is why another reason 30 minutes is way too long. Reduce it. Number 4. Now, number 4 talks about how to increase your capacity without adding new machine, without adding new license. So how to make more efficiency, make better efficiency between VizQuery and backgrounder. Since TSM released, there is automatically, dynamically swapping. I don't know if you guys are doing. This is a feature you should do. This is very useful. Idea is that giving more backgrounders during the night time. Okay, you may say, hey, I have international users. There's no daytime, there's no nighttime. Well, I'm telling you, we always dealing with server users from different region, but if you look closely, you always find a window that you should have more backgrounders. Like let me give you an example. Look at these charts. There are 2 charts. Okay, this is real from my server. Okay, on the left side is nothing but the backgrounder delays. All the days. If I look at the backgrounder _ jobs table, you can figure out the background delays. Okay, as you can see, more delays is somewhere between midnight to 8 a.m. Okay, and on the right side is just query the HTTP _ request table. You query that table if you count concurrent worksheets. That is how Tableau server admin view, out-of-box view, how to count how many views. If you count that by hour, you will notice certain hours, the HTTP requests are more than other hours. I'm sure you will find a similar pattern. As you can see clearly, in my example here, somewhere between midnight to 6 a.m., I should give more backgrounders. I'm okay to give less VizQuery. That's my scenario. I'm sure you can find something similar. Right? That will help you to understand your workload pattern. Which window within the 24 hours you can have more VizQuery, which window within 24 hours of the day you can have more backgrounders. Once you have that data set, it's simple enough. Just grab a script, let's do it. And in my blog site, there is a live working, there's a working scripts available for you. Simple, just grab it and do it. Cut and paste scripts that you can find from this blog site, enterprisetableau.com/tsm. That script works. All right, moving number 5. Incremental or smaller extracts run first. Well, this is great. Think about it. Let incrementals run first, let smaller run first. In old days, used to be you had to do a TSM command, TSM configuration change to enable this feature. Now, since 19.3, this is automatically. There's no configuration required anymore. The incremental and the smaller ones will go first. So what it means, it means is as server admin, that is our marketing tool to tell the publishers, if anyone complains, hey, why my extracts got delayed? Well, you can tell them, make it as incremental or make it smaller. So your extracts will have higher priority automatically. I use the term priority, maybe that's wrong term. It's not exact priority, but we'll go first. We'll go first, we'll be in the queue first before all the full extracts. See that's an incentive. You got to educate your publishers. Let them know if their design more efficient joins, if their design incrementals, they can get less delay than others. That's the incentive, that's motivation for them to make things better. That's how we as a server admin should use those features to educate the publishers. All right, if things were here, if you look at this whole deck, I put this together after reading, understanding carefully about the documentations of extracts, extracts operations. I call it background order of operations. In progress task, of course, is going highest, then follows by the run now tasks. If you enable the run now on the site, and then follows by the higher priority tasks, which I'll talk about later on. Then if the same priority goes by time added to the queue, if the same priority, same time added to the queue, like 8 a.m. in the morning, for example, then flow goes first. And then data-driven alert goes first, second, then subscriptions. After all of that, then incremental goes, smaller extracts goes, finally, the full extracts goes. Now the full extracts, although at the bottom, but there's likely in most of our servers, that's a majority of your extracts, okay? So it still makes sense for people to design incrementals and make the efficient join for make a smaller extracts, so those ones can have less delays. If you're using older version of Tableau server, of course you should upgrade. Now, but if you're using very old version, you will have to do something as a TSM command, configuration command, to enable the smaller extracts goes first. Again, since 19.3, nothing needs to be done. Now come back for the priority, high priority task. Sometimes I call the VIP extracts. You know, you always have some VIP extracts. The priority is less than 50. The smaller, the higher the priority is. Okay, you as admin, no matter site admin or server admin, we are able to set priority. Now, I'm assuming you're not giving priority for the schedule, you're giving priority for the extracts, workbooks, data sources, for the tasks. Okay. Now the thing is, only thing is the priority, it changes back automatically, back to 50, back to default automatically after new revision of the workbook or new revision of data source. That is the way it is. That's a behavior. Okay, just be aware. You can give high priority for workbook. That's okay, but after workbook has new revision published by the owner, it resets back to 50 automatically. That's really, that's a feature. It's been there a long time. There's no change. Now, how to deal with that? If you are serious, again, this is what I'm doing, but I'm not recommending to everyone, okay? If you're serious, this is for experts only. If you're serious, you can update the priority. Again, there's no API, no API. Do it on your own risk. But I'm telling you exactly where you should update. If you just update the tasks table, set tasks dot priority to whatever number. That's how you need to do if you want to do it. In our environment, we automate this. If they want 20 workbooks to have priority, we set them once, then the scripts will automatically make them as higher priority, this priority always. Again, there is risk, okay, because there's no API. Now, if you're doing that number one, if you are doing number one, okay, probably you also want to do it number two. That's also what I have been doing for a long time, okay. Number two is make a smaller extracts higher priority. Think about that. It's not, it will also go first, but go very first, okay, almost on top. If you remember, higher priorities goes way above. You can set smaller extracts goes with higher priority. After I've done this for a long time, for 3 years or so, I'm telling you, those things may not have significant impact. May not. Depends on your environment. More significant impact is suspend. That's the most significant impact. That's why that is in my number one top list. Okay, but if you want to do some fancy stuff, you can try those ones. All right, tips. Tip number one, never give higher priority based on extracts frequency. But me saying I have hourly, I cannot delay, give me higher priority. No, never. Why? Because that encourages wrong behavior. To give hourly, have a higher priority, and those people set every half hour. Even they don't need hourly, they'll set hourly. That's wrong behavior. Okay. Number two, again, if you wanted to do some fancy stuff, take the risk, I do have more details on my blog, how to do it, if you care. All right, we talked about 6 things to improve your server efficiency on the backgrounders. Okay. Number 7, I did not talk, but it's there already a few months ago. I have it, I'll show you where it is, where you can find. Number 7 is reduce extract frequency per usage. Okay. People set daily, but if the usage is really low, you can automatically set the schedule to weekly. Weekly can become monthly. Okay. That is not a Tableau feature, but it can be done. I want to show you where you can find information. That's a December last year's presentation I had. I'm going to show you where you can find it. Again, you go to, let's say I'll just show you, you can go to from beginning. You go to enterprisetableau.com, for example. Yeah, you go to enterprisetableau.com. Click this link, server admin tag link. You'll come to the previous recordings of all this Tableau server admin virtual user group in the last couple of years. It takes a few seconds to redirect, looks like, always. All right, once you're there, go back to last year, December. how to last December. See that? A bit harder for you to see maybe, but okay. I click last December's recording. I have a nice summary. I put together how you can do it. I call it usage-based extracts fresh schedule. On one side, check task, another side, check what schedules you have. I compare how many tasks versus which type of schedules. Also, I give you the formula calculation, how to identify those, how to do it. And at the end, I believe I also have the workbook attached if you want to do it. All right, I will leave here, leave like that. What are the key takeaways for today? Number one, automate, suspend, refresh for inactive tasks. Do not turn it off. By default it's on, although you can change how many days as inactive definition. As long as you upgrade to 2020.3, it's on automatically with 30 days as default. Second, you can tag them. There is a new admin view, 2020.3. You can tag still content. After tag, you can move them to our given project, lock our given project. Owners can still download them, can still republish if they want. And later on, you can delete them. Reduce timeout setting for both subscriptions and the flow if you have a flow. The default for subscription timeout, 30 minutes is way too long for me. Increase capacity with the same hardware, with the same license. You will find a window of hours of doing the 24 hours a day. You can give more backgrounders and you can give more VizQueries. Educate your publisher about incremental will have less delay. Small extracts will have less delay because they can bypass all the other full extracts. They'll have a higher priority. Again, priority is wrong term, but they will run first. Okay. And for some VIP extracts, if you want, you can automatically set higher priority. If you want, that is all I have. Let me take questions. I have about 10 minutes for QA. Let me go to the question list again now. Okay, got a bunch of questions. Let me see. I do have a hard stop at the top of the hour. Let me see how many more questions I can get to. Regive. For swap backgrounder and VizQuery, putting backgrounder on the same nodes as VizQuery will have efficiency, will have an effect on the overall performance of a node as at least one processor needs to be presented. Yeah, reduce, you can reduce to 0 if you want. That's okay, I tried it before. Both VizQuery background on the same nodes, you can reduce to 0. You don't have to have a 1. One thing, 1 is okay, but you don't have to leave 1. I think 0 is good. It's okay. Unless I'm wrong. I think we can do it at 0. Jesse, have you found any way to retain priority when republishing workbook? I answered your question already. Yes, there is a Python way you can go. Robert, we have a couple of data sources that do full refresh and run more than 4 hours. Tell them redesign. Sometimes almost 6 hours. How we can reduce this process time? I know that may be special. Well, everywhere have some special. There are always some difficult guys to deal with. They're saying they have a very critical data. They're saying they have done everything they can. They just cannot reduce 2 hours. That's their problem. You stick with 2 hours, and they will change. Trust me. I know you have to play very hard on this. I put a stick in the ground. I have 20,000 extracts a day. I cannot open up more than 2 hours a day. That's it. You have to play very hard, Robert, for this. Solomarlar, sorry, I pronounced your name wrongly. If you reduce subscription time out, it will fail. Let it fail. Reduce subscription time out, let it fail. Fail is a good thing, rather than take you too much time unnecessary. Shawnai Morgan, if subscription timeout is 5 minutes, does the try again later on? Does the server admin have to manually run it? No, it's a timeout. Timeout, similar as extract timeout. They will receive, there will be an email timeout. Actually, they will receive a timeout errors, I believe. Okay, that's okay. That is okay. Jesse, do you have recommendation on number of backgrounders before maxing out the CPU? For us, it's 74. Oh, you have 4 backgrounders? No, my node depends on how many nodes you have. How many cores you have on each node for the backgrounders. The recommendation I think Tableau has is if your node has, for example, 20 cores, you probably want to set somewhere less than 18 backgrounders. Depends on how many nodes. The question was how many backgrounders. That really depends on how many cores you have on nodes. Winnie, we all have extracts run only after 7 a.m. post overnight date load. That's fair. So there is always a fight for the backgrounders, I know. There's always a fight of backgrounders between different applications. What is recommended in this case, since we cannot leverage dynamic swap in this case? Yeah, you should. This is what's the recommendation. That's why I have this presentation. The recommendation is always do the 7 things. I list here. I'll go back in my list. The recommendation is 7 things. Okay. Start from top. This is recommendation dealing with efficiency. Start with the top. That's a way to make everyone happy. Although it sounds like not possible to make everyone happy. Victor, again, I have 2 server architecture, one for purely backgrounder only, one for interactive only. So during the swap Viz and the backgrounders, my primary interact server should be okay. I don't know what the question. You have 2, I think you talk about you have 2 nodes. The swap is within the same node. Okay, swap is within the same node. Although if you have 2 nodes, you can swap both at the same time if you want. Okay, that's okay. But again, the swap is within the same node. One single node, you can have more backgrounders during the early morning, then you have more Viz queries during the day. That's swapping. Okay. Read a little bit more documentation of the Tableau's documentation. It works. Swapping works. I'm telling you, swapping works very well. Tony, do you have any feedbacks from user on the scheduled decrementing of VizQL process since it's chaos? No. The question is around if you reschedule them, what happens? Do I get a complaint from my users? I never got any complaints. I'm telling you, the swapping, reducing the background is a very simple thing. In theory, it may impact somebody, but when they click the browser, it goes to the other good ones. Even I recycle all my Viz queries daily, I don't get complaints, although there are a lot of users. So it's very safe, to put it this way. It's very safe, very tiny impact, if there is any. There's no measurable impact when you reduce backgrounders, and put it this way. Sorry, when you reduce the Viz query nodes, even to 0, there's no measurable impact. Rajev, is your HTTP underscore request table incremental extracts or live table as it maintains last 7 days? Yes, my HTTP request table, I only keep 7 or 8 days. That's it. Otherwise, it's getting too big. I only keep 7 or 8 days. Tell me where to set up the incremental extracts. I'm using 19.3. Incremental extracts, that is done by every single workbook level. Every single workbook, when they're published is extracts, they can only define incremental or full extracts. Victor Lee again. How Tableau determines small versus large full extracts in order to run first. Okay. Tableau automate, if you care about this, it looks at last run. Actually, if you look for documentation, earlier version, you can even define what is last run, last 7 days run, or it may just pick the most recent run. The short extracts execution time, I think that is what server is using today to define smaller versus large. I think it just used last run execution time. Robert, where do you run those solutions, please, to update the tasks? Oh, you need to have I have my Python server, separate Python server to update those tasks. Hence, can you schedule a number of tasks to a privileged backgrounders? No, you cannot. No, there's no way, unfortunately. I'm not aware of how you can only run certain tasks, certain backgrounders on certain extracts only on certain backgrounders, reserved only for certain people. No, I'm not aware of how. It's top of the hour. Let's just me answer another 2 more questions. I have to stop. Victor, do you know if Tableau will plan to implement reservation of backgrounders? I'm not aware of. You just submit your idea, please. Tom Cook, is there any way to change it right now to something other than priority 0? Yeah, right now is priority 0, but if people using tab command, that's a priority 0. I don't recommend. I recommend that people use API, extracts API, if they're doing refresh from outside Tableau schedule. When they're using extracts API, the priority is 50. It's not 0 anymore. But you are okay turn off right now if you want. Now there's feature available for you to turn off right now, side by side. If you don't like people to click right now, turn it off. Victor, Mark, for backgrounder optimization, do you ever configure schedule as a series? No, I never do a series. I don't know what it means. Another question. So your scripts update the Postgres database? Yes, my scripts update Postgres database directly. I'm a little crazy. Is there any noticeable difference in backgrounder performance versus subscription type? I don't know the difference for subscription type, image, PDF, what difference? I never did any research for that, to be honest with you. As a last question, I have to leave. Granda, last question. Can we set auto suspended and still only workbook in one site, not bother any other sites? Yes, you can. It's a site specific. I have to go, but thank you very much for your questions. And for any additional questions, you can always reach out to me through the emails or through the better ways, go to community. Okay, go to Tableau community. By the way, also it's coming with Tableau conference. Tableau conference coming in about 2 weeks or so. Enjoy the TC, the first virtual TC, all free. Full schedule will be available this week. All free for 3 different regions. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.